Kat Royer, and welcome to my YouTube channel, Down to Earth Real Estate. Now, in a past video that I had done, it was about how to build your real estate squad. Now, if you watch that video, you'll understand that there are a ton of people that go in and out of your real estate transaction, whether you're looking to buy or to sell. Well, one of those main anchors was your realtor. And that person plays such a big role out of all the people that are going to be helping you through this process. So the big question on everybody's mind is, how do I find this so very important person that plays such a big role in the success of buying or selling my biggest financial asset? So we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about how to find your realtor. We're going to talk about how to interview this person, what questions to ask, so that you make sure that you're getting the right person that fits you and fits your needs. At the very end of my video, we're also going to talk about agency. It's a very important step as you are trying to find your realtor. Now, of course, agency differs from state to state. So this will be based mostly on Maryland law. However, it's always good to know what kind of agency is out there. So at least you can get a feel no matter what state you may be doing business in. So firstly, Kat, how do I find this person? Do I go online and start looking at houses and then just start asking people to contact me? Or should I start talking to people and getting referrals? Really great questions. And I'm going to give you the answer that makes the most sense to me as an agent. And I'll tell you, most of my business actually comes from referrals. Friends, family, coworkers, they all have probably done some kind of real estate transaction at some point in time or know somebody who had done one. They've heard good things, they may hear bad things. So don't be afraid to say, hey, look guys, I'm looking to buy or sell. What do you think? Who did you work with? What kind of experience did you have? And that should give you a much better idea of the local agents that are out there that could potentially help you. So I get it. Maybe you don't want to talk to your friends or your family or your coworkers about the need to buy or the need to sell even. It can be a touchy subject. So I fully respect and understand. But in this case, you are probably looking at online research. Now, for buyers out there, you may be buying outside of your state or outside somewhere that you don't know who to contact. Google's gonna be a good friend for you. And you may be already researching the market, looking at homes, what homes are going for. And it's really easy to click the I like this house, contact me button. So yes, you can do it that way, but just be aware that you may be getting kind of a lottery system of agents who are paying to get people to contact them this way. So just be aware that if you're not really doing your research on an agent, you're doing the research on the house, and then you have a lottery system if you don't know who's going to contact you. If it were me, I would want to have more control over that. So I would be researching agents a little bit differently to make sure that I contact the person that I want to talk to and not the other way around. The other caveat with clicking that button that says contact me is, you may be having the listing agent of that house that you really like contacting you, and you don't want to be in jeopardy of sharing information that could hurt you in negotiations later on. Another great way to do some online research in lieu of clicking that button that is just so easy to click that says contact me. The other thing that you can do is read reviews of agents online. There's a ton of agents, so I know that's probably a lot of work, but it's another great way of doing it. Now, let's say you're trying to sell your house. I would look and see who has sold the most in your neighborhood. Actually, this year I had somebody contact me that said, I saw your broker sign in my neighbor's yard, and just looks like you guys sold them in about 2 weeks, which we did. And I got to sell their house too. And it's great because that agent already knows your neighborhood and is very familiar with the comps, clearly. And you know that their success rate is good, especially in your neighborhood, which is important. So let's say you have a couple of agents that you like online and you're kind of thinking, okay, I need to start asking some questions of these folks. What questions do I ask? Now, first and foremost, I'll go ahead and say, don't email them and don't text them. If you are a serious buyer and you are a serious seller and you have an agent that you think is real serious and knows what they're doing, they're going to appreciate a phone call more so than anything else. They want to know that you're serious. They want to know that you are serious about the process, and they want to know that you're a real person. That's always helpful. We need to ask important questions to make sure that you're finding the person that makes the most sense for your situation. So one of the first questions that I would ask, and I get asked a lot, is how long have you been in the business? This is a really vital question. Don't assume because they have maybe some gray hair that they've been in the business for years. Not necessarily the case. Real estate is one of those industries that is oftentimes a second, third, fourth career for people. So it doesn't necessarily mean they've been in the business for 50 plus years. Now, real estate for me is a second career, though it did kind of go pretty well with what I was doing before. But just because I'm young also doesn't mean that I don't know what I'm doing. Another thing that I would ask is about education. How much education do they have in their industry? Now, of course, every agent's going to say, well, yeah, I took the classes and I passed all the exams and that's how I got my license. Another thing that I personally like to add to that is I'm a graduate of Virginia Tech. I have my bachelor's in hospitality and tourism management, and I also have a minor in real estate. Beyond that, I think you should also be asking about certifications. Now, yes, all you need to do in order to have your real estate license is to have taken the exam and then keep up with your continuing education courses, which is every 2 years. However, there are some agents that go above and beyond and get a few certifications that help them help their clients best. Things like accredited buyer representative, military relocation specialist, things like this. Definitely something good to ask and see how much effort they are putting into helping their clients. Now, my third and final very important question that I would ask any realtor is, will I be working with you directly, or would I be working with somebody within your team or within your brokerage? Now, it depends on how the realtor has their business set up. They may be working within a team where there are seller's agents and there are buyer's agents, and then there may be assistants. For me, whenever I get this question, it's always, no, you'll be working directly with me. However, I do have a team behind me that are in my office manager and our marketing person that is always there to help. And then my broker is also my mentor. And, if we hit any bumpy road that I'm unsure of, which happens from time to time, don't get me wrong, every transaction's different. It's always good to have some backup. However, there may be some people who are their team leader and you won't be working with them directly. You may be working with their buyer's agent and they may be there just for backup. So it's always good to ask, who am I talking to? Am I talking to the right person? Am I talking to the person that will be communicating with me the most and be there with me all the way through? Okay, it's time to talk about agency. And this is really important because for the most part, there are actually 2 agents in each transaction. There is a listing agent and there is a buyer's agent. Now, depending on what you're trying to do, you may be trying to sell your home and then buy, and you may be trying to do that all in the same state or in the same area or the same county, and in which case you will have a listing agent who could also be your buyer's agent for finding your next home. That way you're working with one person who is representing your house and your listing, and then you're going to work with that same person in which case you will be buying. Now, my buyers out there, you will just have a buyer's agent. Now, for those people who aren't selling and just buying, you will just have a buyer's agent. Again, this agent represents you. Now, that's only true if there is a buyer agency agreement in place. In the state of Maryland, there is no longer presumed buyer agency. So, if you go into a home and have not signed anything with that agent, a buyer agency agreement, technically that agent represents the seller as a sub-agent. So, you need to be careful here. Not that anybody's trying to trick or dupe you. Most of the time, agents really do want to show you the home so that you choose them to be your buyer's agent from there on out. Really, the importance here for my buyers is pick an agent. Go with that agent. Don't keep calling different agents to see different homes. Find your buyer's agent that you really like and work with them throughout the entire process. I promise you, it'll be much easier this way to work with one agent rather than calling so many different people to see different homes and meeting so many different people. It kind of gets confusing. And we talked about this before. The process can be long. It can be daunting. And it's good to have that professional with you from the very start to the very end. Now, we have something here in Maryland called dual agency. Some states will allow one agent to represent the seller and the buyer. My opinion is that there is definitely a conflict of interest there. In Maryland, though, there is dual agency. However, it must be a broker who is the dual agent. For example, in my office, if I had a listing and there was a buyer who wanted to see that listing and somebody else in my office showed that listing as a buyer's agent. So basically my broker is the dual agent in this case. I would be the listing agent. And then under the same umbrella, there would be somebody else in my office who is the buyer's agent. That would be dual agency. My last and final tip here about finding your agent is always go local. Try to find somebody who is very familiar with the county that you're working within. Every county is a little different with different neighborhoods, different caveats, maybe different taxes, different HOAs. All these things are very important, and you want somebody who is as local as possible, who would be very familiar with these different caveats that happen from county to county, nevertheless, state to state. All right, everybody, that's it for today. Be sure to stay tuned though. Every Tuesday, I post a new video about buying and selling residential real estate and helping you understand the process down to earth style.